Welcome to the Read Charlotte Explicit Instruction modules. My name is Dr. Preston and I'll be your host for today. As an evidence-based practice, explicit instruction is an effective way to teach skills and concepts, especially when teaching children to read. Explicit instruction includes multiple components that we organized as 8 practices teachers can use to improve literacy instruction. When using explicit instruction, teachers have a clear purpose, teach concepts explicitly, use models to teach concepts, provide examples and non-examples, keep instruction engaging, offer consistent feedback, provide multiple opportunities to practice, and scaffold instruction. In this series, we will provide opportunities to learn about and interact with each of the explicit instruction practices. We hope these modules become a resource for you as you begin to teach more children to read using explicit instruction. Today, we're going to talk about feedback and the different ways that we can provide feedback to students. By the end of the session, you will be able to identify the type of error correction needed and behavior-specific praise in teaching scenarios. Quick and easy feedback. When you think about it, learning happens after a mistake. I enjoy taking photographs, and I was showing some photos to my brother, who is an art director for a fancy company, and he looked at a photo of my daughter centered perfectly in the middle of a picture, and he told me about the rule of thirds. Divide the picture into thirds going up and down, and across. Place something interesting or important within the different thirds of the photo. Align something interesting like eyes or faces along the lines. That makes for a more interesting photo. After his feedback, my photographs became much more appealing. Notice how the second picture gives the feeling of the journey ahead more than the one on the left. By providing feedback, he taught me something I didn't realize before. If he had skipped over the feedback and just smiled, I would have never learned how to space a photograph. The same thing applies to teachers. Instead of skipping over an error or stopping to reteach, we miss important chances to support our students. Luckily, feedback does not need to be complicated or long. Here are 3 easy and effective ways to be more intentional about giving feedback. Simple affirmation, affirmation with a correct response, and correct response and reteach. Let's see how this works when working one-on-one with a student and also in a group where students are answering together using choral responding. Our group of students are answering what color is Little Red Riding Hood's cloak, and they all said red. Our single student is starting to orally read a story. Here's how to provide feedback in both situations based on how the students respond. When the student's response is correct and quick, or the group response everyone is correct, we give simple affirmation. Great job, or that's right. When the student's response is correct but slow, and more than 2/3 of the group of students are correct, we provide affirmation followed by the correct answer. This gives the students who are wrong the chance to hear the correct response. Yes, the pig was hungry. Right, that word is melancholy. Finally, if the student's response is incorrect, or more than half the group gets it wrong, we provide feedback by saying the correct response and reteaching. Nest. Listen, best, nest. They both end in est. What rhymes with best? Almost. That word is syncopated. Let's chunk it by syllables. Let's go through a few examples of what this sounds like. Grab your guided notes and follow along with us here. Listen to this student and choose the type of feedback she should receive based on how she reads the words.
I want you to read these words for me. Get ready.
Believable, invisible, valuable.
Great job reading those words.
Pause here to note how the student responded and choose the type of feedback she received. She was correct and quick and received a simple affirmation. Here's the next one.
I want you to read these words for me. Get ready.
Believable.
Good, believable.
Invisible.
Yes, invisible.
Valuable.
Right, valuable. Good job.
Pause and mark your guided notes. She was correct and slow and received affirmation with the correct response.
Read these words.
Believable. Invincible.
That word is invisible. What word?
Invisible.
Yes, invisible. Starting over. What word?
Believable. Invisible. Valuable.
Good job reading those words.
Pause and mark your guided notes. She said an incorrect word, so the teacher gave her the correct word, had her practice, and then read the words again. Being intentional about how we provide feedback benefits students as they learn to read. Simple affirmations keep students' confidence moving up. Affirmations with correct response give students a chance to hear the response and self-reflect. While providing the correct response and reteaching is how students learn and maintain new knowledge. Five tips for corrective feedback. Provide an error correction every time. Don't skip any errors. Students have a better chance of learning it if they are corrected than if we hope they notice it. As a kid, you don't know what you don't know. Provide immediate corrections. This reduces the chance that a student will repeat the error before getting corrected. Kids don't need to practice it wrong. Give specific information that focuses on the correct answer. Instead of just saying no, or even no, that word is fate, explain that the E makes the A say its name, and then have the student repeat the correct word. Use a non-judgmental tone of voice. One way to keep error corrections positive is to keep a happy tone and not sound annoyed. Having a supportive environment encourages students to keep trying as they are learning instead of shutting down. Finally, always have the student practice it correctly before moving on. Give the student a chance to try it again and support them if they still need help. Strong corrective feedback means to provide an error correction every time. Provide immediate corrections. Be specific. Focus on the correct answer. Use a non-judgmental tone of voice. And practice the task one more time. By following these tips, we are supporting our students' learning and growth. Thank you for engaging in our explicit instruction modules to strengthen your literacy practices. As you know, explicit instruction is an effective way to teach kids to read, especially kids who are already struggling to read. We hope you continue to explore the rest of our modules on explicit instruction. And of course, happy teaching!